finding savings is much harder than people first thought.
Even if water savings can be found, the multi-million-dollar question is who should get them, the river or the farmer? Presumably if savings are made on farm, farmers would want those savings...
Of course they would.
...for themselves.
They've paid for it, why shouldn't they? Yeah, why shouldn't they?
The latest news on savings comes as a shock. It says our move to high-tech irrigation means less, not more water for the river, as savings are used to grow more crops. According to CSIRO's chief economist, Mike Young, new technology can be counterproductive.
This is the River Murray, and here we have a flood irrigation system fed by an old channel, which is ripe for rehabilitation. What happens is they pump the water out onto that flood area out there, but half the water goes back under our feet, back into the river again. It's a connected system. And the thing which we're talking about when we upgrade and make this efficient is we change this to a highly productive new system, but unless we're careful, the water which used to go back to the river doesn't go back anymore.
That's the fear from environmentalists, though, that actually water saved will simply be used for more irrigation.
For better irrigation and for better farming. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't see what's evil about that. I'm having real trouble understanding why anyone would object to a farmer using the water smarter and better to grow more crops and do it better. I mean, has the world gone mad?
The ecology of all this lower Murray has been transformed by turning it into lakes.
The reality, according to environmentalist Tim Fisher, is that the river, with only 20% of natural flow, is slowly dying, raising the ugly question of rationing water for farmers. He believes more cuts must be forced on irrigators. The cap has to come down, and another 10% of the Murray's natural flow must come back.
What I think we're going to need, just to have a reasonable chance of doing something good, is about 1,500 gigalitres in increased flow within the Murray itself.
Rationing water will hurt small dairy communities like Kerang in Victoria.
A very, very important person.
He's trying to do the criminal thing and I don't settle.
2 weeks ago, the commission in charge of the Murray-Darling Basin was in Kerang. It agrees with Tim Fisher that the river needs more water and is now haggling with communities over amounts up to 1,500 gigalitres.
The last thing I'm going to say, trust me, I'm from the government, because that wouldn't be a very smart move. Action will be taken to achieve a healthy working river.
This is Don Blackmore's 51st so-called Living Murray meeting.
You're stating, I don't know who you got your information from, that you just won't come and take our water. It is not the feeling we are getting from local water people.
The Living Murray has stalled because no one is clear about how we're going to reach any of those targets. And until government's put on the table what's the mechanism for recovering that water, of course people are going to challenge the science.
Now people start talking about cutting the cap, then really what they're talking about is the equivalent for someone who lives in an urban community of just seeing their back fence keep moving towards their house, you know, until it actually starts to take over the veranda.
There is a deep-seated belief among many irrigators that environmental flow is just emotive nonsense.
My opinion is that they've just invented it to deprive irrigators of water.
Does environmental flow mean more water running up the Murray mouth every day of the year in 100 years, which is I think what a lot of South Australians would like to see? Or does it mean something like our unique Australian rivers, which are drought-stricken for 3 years in 10 and flooding for 2 years in 10?
Powerful voices are lobbying against the cutbacks. This property belongs to the largest private owner of water in Australia, John Karlbetzer. It's a huge agribusiness of cattle, wheat, cotton and rice. It's run by Executive Chairman Christine Campbell, based in Sydney.
Do they want a healthy working river? And if they do, then they have to balance their outlook. So we can't look at this from